In a world obsessed with loud women, the one who said the least was the most powerful. We all remember Carrie's voice, her stories, her chaos, her questions. But somehow, we still respect Natasha more. And that's not by accident. She was a threat, not because she was loud, but because she didn't have to be. Darling, let's talk about it. Hey, love. It's Clara, and welcome back to Intemporal, your space for timeless femininity, elevated psychology, and soft power that doesn't scream, but echoes. This channel isn't about trends or hot takes. It's about truth, elegance, mystery, and everything they stopped teaching girls after 2005. Today's video, it's not about Carrie. It's about the woman she tried to erase, Natasha. And I'm not just talking aesthetics here. I studied this. From a storytelling perspective, a psychological one, even spiritual, what this character represents is insane. I have a lot to say, and by the end of this video, you'll know why she was the most powerful woman in the entire series, even when they tried to make her look disposable. First of all, she was never just the wife. Natasha was never the villain. She was never the boring wife. She was the boundary, the mirror, the consequence, and Carrie knew it. You can always feel when a woman has limits you'll never be allowed to test. That's power, real power, the soft kind. While Carrie was the chaos, Natasha was the calm, and calm terrifies people who don't have it inside them. Let's go deeper. Her styling wasn't bland, it was strategic. Think about this. Natasha wore whites, creams, clean silhouettes. Everything about her said, I don't need to try too hard. I already won. That's what quiet luxury looks like when it's not trying to be trendy. It's not showy, it's sacred. It's the visual language of a woman who doesn't fight for attention, because she already knows she's the standard. She's not chasing the male gaze. She owns the space where men feel safe. And let's pause there for a second because, yeah, I mean it. Her style, immaculate. It's giving controlled softness. Every look was polished but not loud. Neutral tones, minimal jewelry, elegant tailoring, no desperation, no fashion clownery. She wasn't trying to prove she was interesting. She already knew she was. It's the kind of dressing that says, I don't want attention. I want standards. And trust me, men feel that. They feel safe, yes, but also a little intimidated. Because that kind of elegance sets expectations they know they might not meet. That's not just fashion. That's psychological styling. That's soft domination through aesthetic restraint. The affair and her iconic exit. Let's talk about the cheating. Carrie knew Big was married. She still pursued him, lied, met him at hotels, and yet, when Natasha finds out, she doesn't throw plates. She doesn't give the you'll regret this monologue. She simply says, I hope you find what you're looking for. Girl, I gasped. That is not weakness. That is control. That is someone who knows the value of their soul. She didn't lose her temper. She let them lose her. And that's a punishment they'll feel forever. Psychology break. Why that scene was so powerful. Let me explain why this worked. When someone betrays you, they expect drama. It's how they justify what they did. She was crazy. It was already falling apart. But Natasha didn't give them that narrative. She gave them silence, a clean exit, no mess. And the absence of that mess, that's what haunted them. Sometimes your silence is more painful than a scream because it means you weren't even worth the emotional energy, right? And that's what hits the deepest. Because let's be honest, people can handle anger. They expect it. It makes them feel important. But silence, that's different. That's rejection in its purest form. That's saying, you are no longer worth my voice. It's devastating because it leaves them alone with themselves, with the shame, the guilt, the mirror. And Carrie, she felt that. You could see it. She wanted a scene. She wanted closure. Natasha didn't give it to her. She didn't need to. Silence is what happens when a woman knows she deserves better and walks away like she already has it. That's not indifference. That's discipline. That's emotional intelligence. That's power. And let's go even deeper here, because when we look at Natasha and Big, there's a truth nobody likes to say out loud. He married her, not Carrie. Why? Because even emotionally unavailable men know the difference between someone who adds value to their legacy and someone who drains it. Men may chase chaos, but they marry peace. They might flirt with drama, but they invest in discipline. Big didn't need someone louder than him. He needed someone who made him feel grounded. And Natasha, with her quiet, composed elegance, offered that illusion of stability. And here's the psychological twist. Men like him often believe they can handle a woman like Natasha until they realize she has non-negotiables. She's not the kind of woman who begs or proves or plays. She withdraws. And that's terrifying for men who aren't ready to rise to her level. Because once a woman shows that she doesn't need to be chosen, she becomes unforgettable. And that's exactly what Natasha became. Carrie was the main character, but Natasha had the gravity. And look, I get it. Carrie was funny. messy, relatable, but also exhausting. She constantly crossed boundaries, hurt people, made herself the victim. Natasha, she didn't need a character arc. She already had character, and that's why she was respected, even by the audience that was told not to like her. Because women feel safe around boundaries, men feel drawn to them, and people who lack them call them boring. Spiritually speaking, she was the peacemaker. Yes, let's go there. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Matthew 5:9. Natasha was a woman who valued peace over drama, grace over vengeance, dignity over reaction. She wasn't a doormat, she was a gatekeeper. She knew the weight of her soul, and she refused to waste it on revenge. And honestly, that's holy, that's sacred feminine energy. That's what they don't teach anymore. Even her silence had texture. She didn't try to win people over. She wasn't warm, she wasn't bubbly, but she was respected, deeply. Because women like Natasha don't entertain for validation. They exist as a standard. And the standard is always silent. It doesn't argue. It doesn't explain. It just watches as others try to rise to it. Carrie wore a tutu in the streets of New York. Natasha wore a crisp white button-down and made Big forget how to breathe. Like, babe, be serious. If this is resonating with you, pause and subscribe. Seriously, we don't do fluff here. This is elegance with depth, and you belong here. And tell me in the comments, have you ever been misunderstood for being too quiet? Too composed, too cold? Because same. And guess what? It means you're powerful. Natasha walked away without burning the house down. She let Carrie sit in the ashes, and that's power. Real feminine strength is in how you leave, how you protect your energy, how you don't need closure. Because peace was never on the other side of chaos. So here's your reminder, love. Be the woman they remember, not because you screamed, but because you didn't have to say a word. If this video lit something up inside you, share it, subscribe, comment. We're building something rare here, and you're part of it.